Welcome back, folks, to the Mail Right Show. It's episode 165. I haven't got my co-host with me in this episode. He's away on a business trip, but I've also got a fantastic special guest. She's a real friend of the show, and that's Mojca Zove. And I probably destroyed her Christian name, which I do with regularity, don't I, dear? But you seem to cope with it well. Would you like to quickly introduce yourself to the listeners and viewers first, and then we will delve into our great subject?
Yeah, absolutely. So I own a boutique Facebook ads agency called Super Spicy Media, and I actually started with Facebook ads after I got fired from my previous job, which was I was a copywriter at an advertising agency. And since the people at the advertising agency weren't really interested in Facebook ads, and I really pushed for it, they basically fired me, and I ended up, going my own way. And I've grown my agency from scratch pretty much. But now I consult to 7+ figure companies on how to use Facebook ads. I implement Facebook advertising strategies for them. I design the visuals. I write the copy for them. And I also have a book. I have a video course. And that's how I pretty much got started and how I came to where I am today.
Oh, that's great. We discussed before the show, our audience are mostly real estate agents, but I wanted you to come on this particular show because you're a real expert on Facebook advertisement. And how do you feel that real estate agents, what are they missing out by not really understanding about the power of Facebook advertising and how they could use it to really help their business, Monica?
So one thing is location targeting. I know a couple of good real estate agents that implement fantastic Facebook advertising strategies, and they work really well. But there are a lot of real estate agents and real estate agencies that just want to play around with Facebook ads a little bit, but they don't know exactly how to implement and who to target. So the number one thing that they're getting wrong most of the time is location targeting. And they're targeting these big audiences of 500,000 people that are basically not their target audience. So the first thing that they need to do is pretty much define who their target audience actually is. How old are they? Where do they live? What's their income? Are they currently in the market for buying a new house, a new home? And that's where you get started. So first is just defining your target audience and then basically doing location targeting. The whole of the United States is definitely not a good target audience. It's too big. But just narrowing that down with interests and behaviors is a good way to get started.
Yeah, I totally agree. But on the other hand, you don't want the audience to be too small because then Facebook. Am I correct? You're the expert. I have people help me with my company with this. But if the audience, on the other hand, if the audience is too small, it's basically Facebook's technology can't really help you. I'm looking for the right word here. Optimize the advert. So would you agree that you need a balance between too small and too large, really?
Yes, absolutely. So if you have a target pool of 1,000 people, it's definitely too small. But if you're launching a campaign and your potential audience is, let's say, 10 million people or even 5 million people strong, that is definitely too broad. So you need to narrow that down. So you have to look for that sweet spot, and you can find that sweet spot through experimentation and A/B testing and trying new things, basically.
Yeah, so, obviously, if you're in a large city, a large urban area, let's say, for example, Dallas,
Yeah.
Finding the right balance isn't probably going to be a problem. Your problem's probably going to be cost of per lead, really. But let's say you're in an average, medium large to small city that's, say, got a population of 250,000 with maybe suburbs with some surrounding suburbs. So you might be looking at a total population of 500,000 in total. How do you deal with that scenario?
So I would start by doing some inquiries in terms of, who your current audience is, and just asking a little bit about their interests and where they come from. And those locations that you get through those interviews are the locations that you can target as you move forward. I would also, if you're a real estate agent listening to this or looking at this, you might also be interested into looking into lookalike audiences, because that's a good way to get started. So lookalike audiences is basically creating a brand new audience based off of your existing audience, such as your website visitors or your existing leads or your customers. So what you can do is you can upload that list of people to Facebook, create a lookalike audience out of it, and that lookalike audience is going to be a lot bigger than if, for example, if you live in a smaller city or suburbs or something like that.
Yeah, especially if, am I correct? I'm just going to make this statement, and then I want to put a couple other questions about lookalike audience to you. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to say to the audience, this isn't actually that, it sounds a bit techy here, but it's actually not that difficult. You just got to do it a few times. First of all, when you import that list, am I correct in saying that the email, you can either use phone number or email, but you can't mix both? You can either choose the email address or the phone number. And secondly, they got to match up with either a phone number or the email that the individual utilised to sign up for their Facebook account. Am I right about those two things?
Kind of. So right now, the more information you have on your email list of people that you already have, so even that's email and a phone number and country where they live in, and email and last name, the more information you have, the better your list is going to be. So the bigger, the more information you have, the better can Facebook basically match those people on your email list to actual Facebook profiles. So for example, you have an email that's maybe a work email, but then you have a phone number, you have a first and last name, you have a country. Facebook is going to have a much easier job of matching that profile, that email, that first name, last name to an actual profile than if you wouldn't have a correct phone number, for example, if you know what I'm saying. So yes. The more information you have, the better it is. Now when you create those lists of people on Facebook, you can do all of it. So you can do first name, last name, country, you can do phone number, email, all of that all together. So it's not this or that, but you can upload everything, and Facebook is going to create a custom audience. So that's how it's called, custom audience, based on that information.
So the more info you can give them on these people, more that Facebook is going to have more
Absolutely.
Of that list being imported into your lookalike list, basically.
Absolutely. And with real estate agents and real estate agencies, they collect a lot of information. So you definitely have phone numbers and country of residence and so on. So absolutely, the more you have, the better it is.
Right, that's cleared that one up. So then you import the list, and then it gives the option, but because this is a changing scenario, because obviously Facebook are changing this all the time. So at one stage they didn't, offer you, when you could select a lookalike audience, they didn't give you a lot of options around what that lookalike audience was going to be. And that's why your list, because am I correct that really for for their technology to work that you really needed a list of 1,000 plus. Is that
Oh no, it's you need at least 100 people. If you
right?
have at least definitely the more you have on your list, the more people you have on your list, the better it is,
Right.
because you have a larger sample of people that Facebook can analyze. But if you have even 100 email leads, and if you upload that to Facebook and create a lookalike audience out of that, it's going to work. So you need at least 100 people, but with 100 people, you can definitely make it work.
Oh, thanks for clearing that, because I was listening to some other people when they were saying the list, but I will go with you because I know that you know what you're talking about. So, so I'll go with your statements. So that's great. So you don't need you can, with a smaller list, it will still work. The bigger the list, it's better, but it will still work with 100-person list. Well, thanks for that. So on to the other thing. What kind of can you zero in to this lookalike audience, like through? Can you select a specific city, a specific area? What are some of the things, or do you just you just get a broad selection and you just got to let Facebook work it out, basically?
So you can do countries, that's for sure. And you can do broader areas such as European Economic Area, for example. And you can do countries as well. But in terms of location, you have limited possibilities. For example, if you do location targeting traditional way, you can basically drop a pin and Facebook is going to create an audience within a radius of that pin. But with lookalike audiences, it's a little bit more limiting because Facebook does want to create a lookalike audience of people that are actually going to be interested in what you have to sell and what you have to offer. And if people were able to really pinpoint the location down, Facebook wouldn't be actually successful at doing that. So it's a bit broader, but everything is for your purpose, basically, to achieve your goal. But what you can do is, if you create a lookalike audience from the whole of the United States, you can still, once you start creating a campaign, you can still narrow that audience down to a specific city, and you can basically solve that.
Yeah, so don't get intimidated. The reason why I bring that up is I knew the answer anyway, but I wanted you to confirm because you're the expert. Because a lot of people get kind of, they stop at that because they get intimidated, but they don't realise that as soon as they import it and let Facebook, they can narrow it down a bit more.
Oh, yeah.
And also it's really about the quality of your list, really, isn't it, that you've imported in, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true. So when I work with clients, we mostly create lookalike audiences out of existing customers, because that's the qualified list. Not all of our email, and definitely our email subscribers, it's a much bigger pool of people that we have, but not all of them are qualified to become our paying customers. But if we upload a list of paying customers to Facebook and then create a lookalike audience out of that list, that lookalike audience is definitely going to be far more qualified than lookalike audience created out of just general email subscribers.
Right. We're going to go for our break. We'll be back in a few moments, folks. We're going to be delving some more into custom lists, Facebook advertising, anything to do with that. We'll be back in a few moments, folks. We've been having a fascinating conversation with Mojca. So the other factor is about this custom list business is that if it, let's say, gets back to my example, Dallas, a very large metropolitan city. I think the population is between 3 and 5 million. You've got a lot of competition. There'll be a lot of competition to purchase space on Facebook, won't there? So a custom audience, can it have a effect on the cost of the advert and the cost of purchasing a quality lead, basically?
Definitely. So the more advertisers you have advertising to that specific area, the costier your ad might be. But if you are good at Facebook advertising, and if you know where to start, and if you have some sort of strategy, you have a really good chance of your costs being quite low. It's definitely still a lot lower than any other advertising channels, so to speak. But I wouldn't have that discourage you from advertising, because there are a lot of advertisers who are not doing a good enough of a job, even if they're targeting Dallas. But if you're the one that has a strategy that's doing a good job, your ad might be cheaper than other advertisers targeting the same area.
Yeah, I think that's a great point you're making here, because obviously they're there to make money, and they're doing quite a good job of that. But they also they want their advertisement, the people that advertise, to be relevant to the audience.
Yeah.
They want signs of engagement, that the actual adverts to the target audience are relevant and they're getting engagement. And those that can show that, they will give a reduced rate compared to other people that not. So it's not just auction that the highest buyer will get. Is that correct, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it's absolutely correct. So the more relevant your ad is, and you can see the relevancy score yourself in Facebook Analytics, and the more relevant your ad is, the cheaper it's going to be for you to advertise to those people. Because naturally what Facebook wants to do is, Facebook wants its users to stay on Facebook for a longer period of time. And a consequence of that is they want to show the right ads to the right people. Because if they see right ads, if they see the ads that are relevant to them, if they engage with those ads, they're going to stay on Facebook for a longer period of time. And that's Facebook's goal. So you made a great point. The more relevant your ad is, the more engaging it is, the cheaper it's going to be for you to advertise to those people and to that location in particular.
Now, what are some of the factors that you found with the high-end? You've done a lot of Facebook advertising for people, haven't you? Is it still, obviously video has increasingly become popular, but also if you're going to utilize image, is the image still very important in the success of the advert? And then also, what's the balance between long form copy in the advert and shorter copy in the advert? Is it too many variables, or are you finding long form copy more effective?
That is a great question, because I have done so many experiments with long form copy versus short form copy. And I've been doing those experiments ever since I started just seeing people using very long form copy on Facebook ads. And whenever I checked the engagement rate, it was quite high. So I was interested, what if I start using that for my clients? What will happen? So what we did multiple times is we had 3 to 5 different visuals, and then we had one short form copy and one long form copy. And whatever we did, whatever we promoted, long form copy always performed better than short form copy. And like I said, I literally done hundreds of experiments like that, but long form copy always outperformed the short form one. So what I would really encourage all the listeners to do is do the same thing. So even if you have 1 image or 2 images, when you're launching your next campaign, create 2 sets of copy, one being a very short one, let's say up to 3 sentences, that's it, maybe 5. And the second one being a very long one. So multiple paragraphs, just break it down. Don't just write one long paragraph, but break that down into multiple paragraphs and run that ad copy. It can be very salesy. So whenever we promote with my clients, whenever we promote their services or whenever we promote their products, our copy is very salesy. So it's sales page like. It's a long form, but it works really, really well. Make sure to include a strong call to action at the bottom. Literally say to them what you want your users, your audience to do. And I assure you that is going to perform a lot better than short form one. But in terms of visuals, so your question before we started talking about the copy, what I would really recommend, especially to real estate agents, is just to start using video. You don't need a lot. All you need to do that successfully is your mobile phone, which has a camera. And what I would do is, when you're promoting a new house or a new home or a new apartment, just go there, take a short video, walk through the apartment, walk through the house, and then advertise that. And it's going to be a lot more engaging than a traditional image or a traditional design with, I don't know, let's say a house or something like that on the image, because people will literally watch that video and kind of feel themselves be right there in that apartment, in that house. So that's one thing that I definitely recommend trying.
And also, I'm going to expand on that because I think you're totally correct on that. But placing that video, does it have also? Is it a real sign to Facebook that it's a possibility that's an advert that's going to get some real engagement? So the actual cost in the auction is going down by just the fact that you got a video.
Oh yeah, videos tend to outperform images in every single way. Whenever we did hundreds of experiments, and video outperformed every single time. It's the content that Facebook also wants to promote a little bit more, because they do want to compete with YouTube and they do want to become a video platform, and they're doing everything in their power in order to become that. So now, just recently, they introduced this feature called watch list. So whenever you see, similar to YouTube, so whenever you see a video that you want to watch, but you don't have the time to watch right then, right there and then, you just click save to watch list and you have a watch list full of videos that you can watch. They have a separate video page nowadays where you can browse through different videos on Facebook and choose what you want to watch in that moment. So Facebook is promoting that content a lot more. It is cheaper to use a video in your ads than to use an image.
So let's say, just a quick scenario. So let's say you're a real estate agent and you've got a property for sale that's really in your target niche. Either that niche is controlled by area or by the type of person that's selling the property. So you're representing them. So you do a quick video and then you say in the text that you set up a landing page and you have a lead magnet that say gives you the 10 tips for preparing your house if you're thinking of selling. Is that a good setup? So you've got that quick video, you've got some text, and then you've got that landing page with that lead magnet. Is that something you would recommend still to people?
Yeah, so that's a great point. So lead magnets still work very, very well on Facebook, especially when using an objective called lead ads. And that's a special objective where Facebook don't need to visit. You don't even need a landing page to collect a lead, but all they need to do is they click sign up in their newsfeed and kind of confirm their email that's already automatically collected by Facebook through the email that they signed up with on Facebook. So they just make a couple of clicks and you automatically collect that lead, even if you don't have a landing page. So you don't need a landing page to do that. And I would definitely recommend using just using that approach themselves because it's it's really easy to set up, and it's really, really effective. You can get leads up to $4 if it's a good campaign, or even less than that if it's really, really if you use really good targeting and good ad copy and so on. So absolutely, I would recommend that approach.
Well, actually, if you're up to staying with us for another 10 minutes, I'd like to delve into that specific area after we finish the podcast part of the show, which listeners and viewers, you'll be able to see on the MailRight website, the whole interview. But for now, because you're offering... you've got a great offer for the listeners and viewers, and also I want to give you the opportunity, because you've got some great new courses around everything we've just discussed that you're offering, and I highly recommend that you take one of Mojca's courses, because she really knows her stuff. So do you want to give us some info about what your latest course and what you're offering to the MailRight listeners and viewers?
Yeah, absolutely. So recently I launched a course called The Science of Facebook Ads, because everything that we talk about today is basically science. Like all the targeting aspects and location targeting and lookalike audiences and custom audiences is all just pretty much scientific things that we are talking about. And everything that we talked about today is included in the course as well. So everything to setting up a lead ad, to setting up lookalike audiences and how to effectively do that, how to effectively design your ad, how to edit the videos for your ad, and so on. And I'm offering all of the listeners 50% off from my email course. And you can find my, not email course, video course. And you can find that video course on thescienceoffacebookads.com. The coupon code is MailRight. And I'm going to actually send you, after we do this, I'm going to send you the specific links to that discount as well, so you can include them in the show notes. So if you want to check that out too after the podcast, that would be great.
That's a great offer, and I highly recommend it to my listeners and viewers. That's very generous of you. I really appreciate you doing that. So if people want to find out more about you in general, what's the best ways of doing that, basically?
Absolutely. What I would encourage every single listener to do, if they have any questions, if they're in need of an advice, if they don't know if they set custom audiences up right or lookalike audiences, they can email me at Mojca, so that's MOJCA at superspicymedia.com. Or they can visit superspicymedia.com and read any of my articles that I have there, or reach out to me on Twitter at Mojca Mars, so that MOJCAMARS. And I'm replying to each and every email that comes into my inbox. Sometimes it takes me a few days to reply, but I definitely get back to every single person.
Yeah, thanks for that, Mojca. And you've been a champ with my terrible pronunciation of your name. But Mojca, you're used to it now.
I'm having a lot of fun listening to that, actually.
Yeah, well, we won't delve in there. So we're going to wrap up the podcast part of the show, but we're going to continue the discussion afterwards for about 10 minutes. We'll be back next week. Hopefully, we're going to be talking to an experienced real estate agent about what's been successful for them on their online marketing campaigns. And hopefully my co-host Robert will be back, and we'll be having a great discussion, and we'll see you next week, folks. Thanks a lot. Bye. Right, Mojca. So I always forget the name. You know, the what's it called again? You know, the thing that you say you don't need a landing page. What does Facebook?
Lead ads?
It always escapes me. I don't know why. So
I know why, because Facebook changes it from time to time. Yeah, so previously it was called something else, but I can't remember what it was called. But now it's lead ads. So I know why you cannot remember it. It always
embarrasses me that bit. But they have had a kind of up and down. I'm trying to strike off the right word. They've had their ups and downs with that particular bit of technology, because when they initially launched it, it wasn't doing too well. But it seemed to be very focused to mobile usage, really, because you know, you don't have to go to land, you know, on the mobile device. It's a perfect solution. So recently, you know, I know they've done some modifications. So are you getting some great results from it now?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I've actually seen the same thing. When they first introduced this feature, it wasn't working really well. So again, we did hundreds of experiments, launching 2 different sets of campaigns, for example. One was with just traditional lead generating campaign. We had a landing page where we collected all the emails and we were optimizing for conversions. And the second campaign that we did was lead ads campaign. So without a landing page, but Facebook automatically collected a lead from the newsfeed with, you know, the target audience just clicking a couple of buttons. And at the beginning, every single time, traditional ads worked a lot better. So we had a landing page set up and people were willing to go to that landing page and actually leave us their email. They were willing to do that a lot more than to use lead ads. I don't know why that was the case. Maybe because that was a new feature. People really weren't kind of used to it. They were a little bit skeptical. But now, after a while, after lead ads have been around for quite some time, they tend to outperform traditional ads with traditional landing pages. So I would really recommend, if anyone is still using the traditional approach with a landing page where they collect leads, I would really encourage them to try out lead ads, because nowadays they tend to outperform traditional ads. And I don't know, again, I don't know what the case is, but naturally what Facebook also wants to do is they want to keep a Facebook user on Facebook. So they do not want them to go away from Facebook on a landing page to leave their email there, but they want to keep them on Facebook. And that's why lead ads nowadays perform a lot better than traditional ads.
Right, that's great. Are there any things coming up through the pipeline of Facebook, of the Facebook world, that you think the listeners and viewers should also know about, that you've been researching or finding interesting recently?
So there are Facebook, as you know yourself, they introduce new features pretty much on a weekly basis. So I get this from my clients a lot. They are really frustrated because every single time when they log into their Facebook Ads Manager, something is different. So every time they do that, something looks different. It feels different. They update something. So there are a ton of updates that Facebook is not really talking about. But what I'm really looking forward to is what they're going to do from the targeting aspect of it. As you know, they have been through that privacy scandal of collecting information from third-party information providers. And they have since eliminated a lot of behavioral targeting that was previously available through Facebook. But since they did that, advertisers were really unsatisfied with their decision, because behavioral targeting was a targeting aspect that we were all really interested in, that we were all really passionate about.
Can you give a quick outline of what you mean generally by
behavioral targeting?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So for example, previously you could target specific homeowners, specific household income, people who own specific cars. So you could do all of that because there was a third-party data provider that provided that information to Facebook. But ever since Facebook has been through that scandal, they have actually eliminated that possibility, or at least there are very few features left. What they are trying to do now, because Facebook advertisers weren't really satisfied with their decision, because that was a huge part of our advertising process and our targeting process. What they're doing now is they are doubling down on targeting and trying to figure out a new way to use behavioral targeting through data that is provided to Facebook directly. So they collect a lot of data from lead ads, for example, and then reuse that data in targeting. So I'm looking forward to what Facebook is going to do on that area.
Yeah, that should be interesting. On the video side, how well do you think they are doing with their publicly stated campaign to be a real competitor to YouTube? Because in some ways, I think YouTube and Facebook are a bit different, aren't they?
Oh yeah, in my opinion, they are different too. So YouTube is strictly a video platform. So there are no like images and posts that you can publish on YouTube. It's a strictly video platform, whereas Facebook is different because on Facebook, it's just, first of all, the interaction's different. You have friends there, whereas on YouTube, you collect subscribers. So it's more of a cold audience, not so much like your friends and family. But I think they're doing a really good job in competing with YouTube. I have heard from a lot of people. So I talk to a lot of people. I talk to a lot of advertisers and to a lot of people that frequently use Facebook, and they talk to their families. And what I've heard over and over again is that people tend to stay on Facebook and watch videos for a longer period of time that they do on YouTube.
Wow.
So because you know yourself, once you start looking at a Facebook video, you can just scroll through a list of different videos that Facebook is promoting to you and that Facebook is offering to you, and you can be on there for hours. So from a lot of discussions that I had from people, they are on Facebook for hours. They start watching one video and they do not leave. So with YouTube, it's more like a one video type of thing. So you watch one video, maybe you watch another one, but on Facebook, it's just a different, just a different feeling to it. So I think they're doing quite a good job with competing on YouTube. That said, I don't think that they're ever going to be the next YouTube, because it's a different platform. People use it for different reasons.
In our pre-show chat, you said then we stuck to it. You wanted us to focus mainly on Facebook, but on this bonus content, I want to introduce also Instagram. And so what's your attitude towards Instagram, and how do you think it's building as a new advertising platform, and what are some of the things that you think you've got to be aware of about Instagram in general?
Yeah. So first thing that I really love about Instagram advertising, it's how easy it is to set up an Instagram campaign, because Instagram doesn't have its own tool. And basically what you need to do is, whenever you are creating a Facebook advertising campaign, you just need to check the Instagram placement and you are advertising on Instagram. I have been doing this with my clients, and I have seen a lot of potential from it. For example, I have been working with a client that sells video courses to developers, so to software developers. And our hypothesis was, we are going to get most sales from Facebook. But we still did an Instagram campaign. And as it turns out, majority of our sales came in from Instagram.
That's amazing. That would have surprised me.
It definitely, and I'm a seasoned advertiser. I have been doing this for such a long time, but it surprised me really, really good. So ever since then, I have been implementing Instagram campaigns for my clients, and they have been performing really well. Instagram as an advertising platform has also been developing. So I think that they are now offering, or they're going to start offering, lead ads as well on Instagram. So that's been covered. I'm just really looking forward to all of the updates that Facebook is making on that front. But what I would definitely emphasize is just start using Instagram as an advertising platform, but make sure that you are focusing on the visual side of content, because Instagram is a different platform than Facebook. So it's more visual and image based than Facebook. So make sure that you're using short copy, but put a lot of emphasis on that image, on videos, on nice pictures of properties that you're selling, for example, and you are good to go. But like I said, you don't need a special tool to start advertising on Instagram. All you need to do is set up a campaign within Facebook ads account and then check an Instagram placement, and you're good to go, and you're advertising on Instagram as well.
And just to wrap up, the one thing I think we didn't make clear in the podcast is you need a business page to be able to do Facebook advertising. So that's why even though they reduced the organic reach dramatically, that's why you need a decent business page and regular content on it.
Yeah.
Because people will go and check out your business page, and it's you need that to be able to utilize the real power of Facebook advertisement, don't you?
Yeah, correct. So you don't necessarily need a Facebook page to advertise on Facebook,
Wow.
but if you don't have a Facebook page, you're not going to be able to advertise within the Facebook newsfeed. So within the feed that we're all seeing. And if you are not able to advertise there, your campaigns are not going to be really successful because that's the most effective placement there is. So definitely you would want to have a Facebook page once you start advertising on Facebook. And like you mentioned, I would definitely recommend updating that with content, it's ideally on a daily basis. So publish a post every single day. And just because once you start advertising, when people are going to see your ad in their newsfeed, they're going to visit your Facebook page and they are going to be interested in liking your Facebook page and following your Facebook page. And if you don't have regular content on there, they're not going to do that. And you're missing out on great organic engagement as well.
Mojca, thank you so much for your knowledge, and I really appreciate you coming back on the show. Hopefully in the future you decide to come back to MailRight and we have another discussion. I've really enjoyed it. I think we found the right level. It wasn't totally beginner, but we really didn't go into really high end, really top end. I think we kept it at a level that will be eye-opener to the listeners and viewers without it being too beginning-ish.
Yeah.
If there is such a word, I tend to create them. So we're gonna. So thank you so much. We're gonna finish it now, folks, and we'll be back next week with somebody with some insights or some knowledge that will hopefully make you a more successful real estate agent. We'll be back next week. Bye. And stop.